I've decided that I'm never going to pay back my student loans, and this is how I'm going to finesse.
This is a PSA for everybody who has not been paying back their student loans. My credit score just went down 184 points.
I knew with this happening, it was going to increase my student loan. It's literally for a pastry arts degree.
Student loans this year are absolutely out of control, and people are refusing to pay them. Now, I'm all for canceling student loans because I think the whole principle of charging people crazy amounts of interest while they're 18 is borderline, if not predatorial, and it needs to be stopped. But that's no excuse to not pay them, especially because of how dire some of the consequences are. Now, this is without a doubt going to be a controversial video, and I'm curious as to what you guys think. So if you have any opinions or stories about student loans, student loan debt, paying them off, not paying them off, whatever it may be, please feel free to share your stories down in the comments below. Otherwise, let's get right into today's episode.
I've decided that I'm never going to pay back my student loans, and this is how I'm going to finesse them. I'm currently getting a doctoral degree, and I'll be milking those student loan refund checks throughout the process, while, of course, doing the work authentically. However, upon graduation in about 2.5 years, I'm going to continue to go to college for the rest of my life. This isn't a new secret. However, I'm going to pay out of pocket 2 classes a semester, 6 credits in a degree-seeking program, at least 2 semesters a year. That'll be about $2,000 max, including books. And then I'll get a lifetime learner's credit of $1,000 on my tax return. So my net payment is only $1,000. And I will continue to get associate's degrees. And just, keep learning.
I'm really trying hard to follow along with what he's saying, but that might be the most genius strategy to never paying back your student loans, is to just keep taking out student loans and keep going to school. Because, I'm grateful that I've never had student loans. I'm very grateful that my grandparents had put money away into a college fund, and throughout the decades of growth, it had built up enough interest to pay for my college tuition. Now, I'm not sure how true this is, but I have heard from some of my friends that if you are still attending school, you can defer payment on those student loans. Like, you don't have to pay back the student loans, and they don't charge you interest if you're still a student. So he might have actually have found a loophole within this whole thing, is to just keep registering for classes and keep being a student, maybe even online, and you will never, ever, ever have to pay back your student loan debt, which is still insane. Anyway, I wanted to read some of the comments that people had left on that TikTok, and someone also apparently has done this as well. My dad said he was never paying off his student loans because he was going to keep learning, which is a genius strategy, although, boy, what a commitment. If at any point you decide to burn out or stop, boom, hundreds of thousands of dollars of student loans are going to come tumbling down on you. He passed away at age 56 and never paid a dime, and earned several degrees, including a doctorate, which is insane. This is what my grandma did, LOL. She is getting her master's next Saturday. One of my professors told us he did this. He owes over $800,000 in student loans and was still currently enrolled, and he's also a professor. He laughed and said, "I'll never pay it back." I'm actually shocked as to why I've never thought of this idea earlier. And apparently, I guess it's true what my friends are saying. And please, the people that have more knowledge in this, let me know down in the comments. But if you are part-time or full-time or just a student, I'm not sure which one, I believe you don't accrue interest or anything on student loans, and you don't have to start paying them back until like 6 months after you graduate. So this low-key might be a loophole. Not to mention, you'll be able to still collect on the Amazon Prime discount, as well as the Apple Music half-off discount, because you're still enrolled as a student.
Last night I had to log into my student loan account to print out the paperwork to have my taxes done today. So I got to get a glimpse of my student loan balance for the first time in, I don't know, presumably a year. I honestly don't remember knowing what I owed still. Now, for a point of reference, I graduated in 2011. Okay, so I've been making student loan payments for almost 14 years.
Yeah.
I actually did the math. It was about 165 monthly student loan payments that I've made so far. Okay, now I went to pharmacy school. I'm a pharmacist. That's a doctorate degree. It took 6 years. I went to a private school, not because I wanted to, but at the time, there were only 6 schools in the state of Pennsylvania with a pharmacy program.
I'm just going to stop her right there. The fact that she went to a private school, whatever a normal doctorate in pharmacy would cost, I think it's safe to assume she spent double that because she didn't go to a state school or like a community college for it if that's offered. So we're going to assume she paid double what she could have had she have went to a state school.
4 of them were state schools, 4 of them were private. Chose the school I chose because they gave me a $12,000 a year academic scholarship for the first 4 years. So I got $48,000 worth of academic scholarship. So that's why I chose that school. So my education, even with the scholarship, cost still like $250,000 roughly. Now I'm
250 grand. Part of me wonders, even if she said, oh, I got $12,000 to go to a private school. It's a private school. Part of me thinks she would save $25,000 to $30,000 attending a state school, regardless that the private school gave her a discount. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because she got a discount doesn't mean she's saving more money. She's still attending a private school. But I've met a lot of people that have convinced themselves to do that because they're offering money. Oh, state school, full tuition, $30K a year. Private school gives me $10K scholarship and it costs me $50K a year. I'll go there because I get a discount. Is like, the logic doesn't make sense. It's like they'll find any excuse to attend a private school to flex the name. I don't know if that's her case.
My parents paid for a really good chunk of that, over $100,000. I don't remember the exact numbers, honestly, of how it all washed out. But I do know when I got my first student loan bill in the mail, well, I almost shit a brick, but my balance was like right around $125,000. Okay, 165 monthly payments on $125,000. How much do you think I still owe? $78,000.
What the heck?
Yeah, I don't know. The math isn't mathing. Now, full disclosure, I did refinance at some point.
Oh, there it is.
Which is a horrible idea. Like, at the time, it seems like a good idea because the monthly payments are so, like, overwhelming. But in the long run, you're screwing yourself.
Yep.
When you refinance the student loan. You just are. So 165 monthly
that explains
payments.
it.
I never deferred it. I never missed a payment.
I'll explain why.
And I still owe $78,000. And I've been out of school for 14 years. My oldest turns 10 next week. So realistically, if she decides to go to college, I'm going to be still paying my student loans and likely still owe like $30-some thousand on my student loans when I'm trying to figure out how to pay for her college. And I don't know what the solution is to this whole situation. I don't think loan forgiveness is fair. I don't think taxpayers who didn't go to college should have to have their tax money pay off the student loans for those who did choose to go to college. I don't think that's fair at all. But I do think something needs to be done because universities are charging like obscene tuition. Student loan companies are doing predatory lending to children.
Yep.
And setting up people for like a lifetime of debt. Like you're starting out your adult life with like crippling debt. And I don't know what the solution is here, but something isn't working.
I actually really like a lot of the things that she said, especially at the end. Although, and don't hate me for this, I just happen to notice, and I could be wrong, that she's driving around in what looks like a fairly new car. Like, it looks beautiful. There's no stains anywhere. So I know it's not an old or beater car. And the seats look brand new leather. So I don't know. Part of me, it's like lifestyle creep. Like, if you have crippling $150,000, $80,000 in debt over your head and you have a family, I probably wouldn't go spend lavishly on other purchases. I know people are going to say, well, you need to live even with the debt. No, you're broke. You shouldn't be. You pay off your debt first, then you can treat yourself afterwards. If you're making a pharmacist doctor's salary and all your money went to paying off the debt, you'd be out of it in less than a year. I'd hope for her sake she's making over $100,000 as a pharmacist. So she should be able to pay off $78K in like 2 years if she's putting money towards it, like, and not just continuously paying the minimum like I have a good feeling that she is, because she pretty much admitted to it. And now she has a whole family, lifestyle creep again, so she has more expenses. So it's becoming even harder for her to get ahead of it. Now, to answer her question and why she was confused as to, after 14 years of paying off these loans, why does she still have 78 grand left? Well, she did say she refinanced it. And the reason why that's a problem, and it pisses me off when people throw around the word refinancing. Oh, I got a 7% interest rate on my house. I don't care. I'll just refinance it. Kudos, but they have no idea what they're saying. They think it's this get out of jail free card for their silly mistake that they made of getting atrociously high interest rates. It's not a good idea, because what people don't realize is car loans, mortgages, and student loans, typically, especially private loans, I don't know how federal works, the loans are front loaded, which means you're paying for all the interest up front first before you start applying money to the principal. So your first, 10 years out of your 20-year loan is all going to be going towards paying off the interest to the lender that lent you the money. They're going to get paid first. And then once they're paid out, then some of the money that you start paying towards this loan will start going towards the principal that you initially borrowed. And the problem with refinancing is, let's say you're 15 years into your 20-year loan. You just started to pay it off. You just started to knock down some of that principal. Well, when you refinance it, even though you're getting a lower interest rate, which means you get a lower upfront monthly payment, you restarted the loan. It's a brand new loan again, which means you refronted the entire loan again with more interest. So if you keep refinancing your loan over and over and over again, yes, you're paying a lower interest, but now you're restarting the interest as well, which means you're going to have to be paying more interest over the long run compared to if you just left it alone and didn't refinance. So people aren't financially educated enough to know that, and it actually hurts them in the long run. They just see, ooh, lower monthly payment, which means I get to pay less every month. Ooh, I'm saving money. When in hindsight, you're not saving money. You're spending more money over the long run. Stop living so in the moment, today, tomorrow, and think about your future, because that's what you're selling when you refinance your loan. Tons of consequences for not paying student loans: wage garnishment, tax refund interception, denial of any form of Social Security benefits. Wow. Liens on your house or property, and they can even suspend your passport and deny you immigration to another country. Wow. In case you try to run away from it, they will come after you. The reason we're talking about this is because May 5th, the president, and we are apolitical on this channel. We do not talk about politics. I don't really care and follow politics, so we're not going to get into that with presidents and blah, 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 blah. But he restarted the collections. So now people that have been deferring and not paying their student loans for years are starting to be held accountable, and they don't like it. People are starting to see their credit scores fall from like a 750 to a 500, a 600 overnight. And they're shocked, even though they haven't made a single payment on their student loans since they graduated 5 years ago.
I hate college. If you finish your degree in 4 years like a normal person, you should be so happy and proud of yourself. Me, I went to college for 2 years, played lacrosse, and then took a gap year to travel, which wouldn't trade it for the world, but then that gap year turned into 2 years, and now I'm 23, trying to finish my degree, okay? But I've changed my major 5 times because I'm a Libra, and I can't ever make decisions to save my life.
What?
And I'm interested in so many things, but I don't even know what I want to do career-wise, but I know in order to be successful and have a career, I need to finish school.
Apparently not.
But then I'm also 23. I want to be 23. I want to travel and be spontaneous. So I'm working 3 jobs while trying to balance school. And the only way to even do my homework is taking my Adderall. But then when I take my Adderall, I want to just do all the creative things and things that I love to do that I'm passionate about. I'm just not book smart. And I don't know if I even said this already, but I can't pass a math class. I've been in the same math my whole life. I literally can't pass it. Nothing makes sense. ChatGPT doesn't work for math, so don't even try and say that. I need some tips and tricks and motivation or prayers, because I literally don't even know what to do with myself. I don't even know how much longer I've left, but I know it's a long... I need help.
And this is, I'd say, the overwhelming majority of people attending college or starting off going to college. They probably don't finish it. Top comment says, because I'm a Libra, just pack it up. Listen, college is not for everyone. It is not the be-all, end-all. It's not the saving grace. Yes, can it be helpful if you're climbing the corporate ladder in the 9 to 5? Then yes, you could find it. But there are plenty of sales jobs, marketing jobs, and trades that don't require a college degree. I was very close several times dropping out. There were several instances where I was really considering it, but I stuck it out and I graduated, and look where I am. I don't even use my college degree. I quit my first real job after college after a year, and I haven't looked back, and I've been self-employed. There are a few takeaways that I will say that college does have that is important, but the vast majority of it is a complete waste. It's just this cookie cutter, useless continuation of high school that nobody needs for the next 4 years. And then you just scratch the surface in year 4 for whatever degree you decided to pick. It was so annoying. Like, I was just ready to say, oh, this is what I wanted to learn for my marketing degree. And then I graduated. I was like, this is it? I took a business 101 class of marketing, and that's what $40,000 got me. It just seemed like a complete scam. I've learned more on YouTube than I have from school itself. But the only takeaway, like I was saying, of college is the indirect things, the time management, the money management, learning to be an adult and to make your own decisions for yourself. But that should not be worth, hundreds of thousands of dollars, several thousands of dollars of debt at 18 years old. It just seems like a scam at this point.
Everyone's always like, Brenda, why are you working so hard? Why are you doing a full-time job?
29 years old, $78,000 of debt, guys. That's a lot.
Posting on TikTok all the dang time. It's because I have $78,327 in student loans. And you want to know how much unpaid interest I accrued in the month of February? $523.93. And this is me paying at least a minimum of $2,000 per month. Started with a little bit over $150-something thousand because I had the bright idea of going to grad school so that I can graduate in a healthcare job to help people, but not get paid enough for the amount of student loans I had to take out. Now, my fault, I went to a private university, but still, it shouldn't be this hard to pay off student loans. But based on my PT salary alone, there is absolutely no way that I could pay this much with just that salary alone and live a breathable, decent life. Make it make sense?
I honestly cannot stand the brainwashing that's going on in our society when it comes to college. It pisses me off so much in high school and from parents. You want to make your parents proud, your grandparents proud. Oh, we've never went to school, so you need to be the first one in the bloodline to attend college and blah, 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 blah. Pyramid scheme. That's all it is. It's so annoying that at 17, 16 years old, you are peer pressured to go to college in high school. And if you don't, you're a loser. Seriously, that's how it was in my high school. All the teachers were like pushing the colleges that they went to, and you had to go, and your guidance counselor was like, you need to go to a college, you have to, otherwise you're going to be a dropout loser the rest of your life if you don't attend, blah, 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 blah. It's super annoying. And then all your friends are posting what colleges they went to, so you feel obligated and peer pressured into doing that. God forbid you choose anything else or a trade school. You're looked at as not going to be successful. You know what I'm saying? That whole cliquey thing in high school, I hated it. I can't stand it. And, the problem is people that don't have their parents' funding or aren't getting their college paid for or with a scholarship get screwed by these predatory lending companies that will make this social pressure happen. So I have friends that have taken out several thousands of dollars in debt to attend school for whatever reason, make their parents proud because they were peer pressured. And now they've graduated and reality sets in and they have $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 in debt that's been accruing interest from private loans and federal loans, and it builds up and it snowballs and it becomes this horrible monster, and they regret it. And they're really upset. And now they are borrowers are slaves to the lender for how many years, and they can't take a vacation, and they're stressed, and they can't pay their bills because they got $1,000 a month in student loans to be paying every single month for the next 15, 20 years of their life. It's horrible. Somebody commented on a previous episode on my channel when I did student loans. If you haven't checked out my other student loan episode, highly recommend you do. If you want to get featured in the next episode, definitely make sure to drop a comment down below. Somebody says those loans are predatory scams. None of those students would qualify for those amounts with no income from a normal bank. It's totally true. You could get approved for like $30,000 to go attend college, but if you went at 18 to go get a car loan for $10K, the banks would deny you like this. Make it make sense. The degrees aren't worth what they used to, and the schools won't try to catch up. They have almost all become Trump University or Phoenix Online. Yeah. And now with private schools too, it's like it's just this factory that wants to keep pumping out loans. Phoenix Online is like a massive, fully remote college that is pumping out bachelor's degrees like no other and just completely watering down the worth and value of a bachelor's degree and a college education, and now jobs don't even want to see that. They want to see tons of extracurriculars, tons of volunteer work, and then on top of that, they want you to work for them for an internship for like 6 months to a year unpaid. It's diabolical and unhinged and out of control what's happening right now within the corporate 9-to-5 ladder. I saw it. I hated it. I can't stand it. And I know it's not for everyone. Not everyone can be self-employed, but I said, I got to get out of that. And I left. My fiance is still in the corporate ladder and she has done all that. And there's ways to play the game. Don't get me wrong. There are ways to play the game, but the second she graduated, we made it a goal for her to pay off her loans ASAP, and she was debt-free within, I think, a year or two. During the pandemic, when she had 0% interest and she didn't have to pay her loans, she was putting all her money towards it because she had no other bills. I commented about my resolution to pay off our household student loans for the new year in your New Year's video. I'm happy to say that over $6,000 is now paid off. Today, even opened a 529 for my kid and now have a designated savings account. I'm still working on further goals and I'm proud of my progress. Thanks for the motivation. I love when you guys share stories about your debt repayment goals or whatever savings goals, motivation with finances that you have. I'm so proud of you guys. You know who you are, who have done it, and feel free to drop a comment and tell me your savings goals or your debt resolutions to pay it all off, and I'm going to try my best to respond to every one of you. But I am so proud of everybody for actually taking initiative and getting ahead of whatever debt or savings goals that you have.
Donald Trump wants to garnish your wages in 2 weeks on May 5th if you are behind on your student loan payments. More specifically, if you are 270 days behind, they will begin garnishing your wages, taking your Social Security, and taking money out of your tax return without your permission as soon as May 5th. There are 5 million Americans who this would apply to. And there are 9 million more who are behind but do not yet meet that 270-day threshold, but could soon. Now, don't mind the Bible quotes about debt behind me. They don't matter here. What matters here is that you understand that this absolutely does not have to happen. They are choosing to do this out of cruelty. They know that the people who are not paying their loans do not have the ability to do so. They do not care if you get kicked out on the street. 40% of seniors are in default, meaning this is going to affect your little old lady, grandma, grandpa down the street more than anybody else. Spread the word far and fast because I fear a rent strike is a-comin'.
So I just wanted to read the quote here that she said was from the Bible in the top of her video. If you lend money to any of my people with you who is poor, you shall not be like a moneylender to him, and you shall not exact interest from him. See, I have mixed feelings about this whole thing. Again, we're apolitical. We're not talking about politics on the channel here. But she said without your permission, as if the money she had is hers, and she doesn't give permission to collect what you are responsible for. It's like, take accountability. You've been delinquent. You haven't made a single payment in over 270 days. There are consequences for your actions. If you're going to borrow money from somebody, why do you think you just have a pass to not pay it back? I don't understand. Like, go take a car off the car lot and stop making your payment on it. Watch how quickly they come repossess it. And they take your car without your permission. It doesn't make any sense. The thing about interest, I can't stand the interest. I think that just pisses me off. That's where the student loans really irks me, is that you are charging people interest on it. And it's not like a small amount. It's not 1%, 2%. And it's not like it's not front loaded or it's not compounding interest. It is like 7, 8, 15, 13% interest. It's insane interest payments here. Listen, if you're not going to make a payment on the loans that you borrowed and you signed on the dotted line for, I don't really feel too bad that they're sending it to collections. My sister went to Case Western for 8 years, then Harvard for 4. Wow. She racked up $375,000 in student loans, and she graduated high school in 1996. Think about that. I'm guessing the same education would now be worth $600,000 to $700,000. Anyways, she married into an extremely wealthy family and paid it off basically instantly after she graduated. Moral of the story is rack up as much debt as you can and then just marry a rich dude so you can cut off your brother because you think all he wants is your money. See, these are the stories that I love. That's hysterical. Yeah, so we have 2 options here for how to get ahead of our student loans. We have don't pay them at all and just keep going to college forever. Never graduate. Keep being a student and you'll never have to pay them back. Or Just marry somebody wealthy and they'll pay off your $400,000 in student loans. Boom, wiped away, and you're good to go. So these are some pretty solid solutions, I think, for the average American that has, a lot of student loan debt. Just go find a sugar mama or a sugar daddy.
This is a PSA for everybody who has not been paying back their student loans. Maybe like me, I don't know, in the last year or two. My credit score just went down 184 points. What are we doing?
What are we doing? What are we doing? We're not paying our loans off for over a year and then surprised when our credit score falls 180 points. If you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. I understand it's been a very weird, shaky, rocky couple of years where you didn't have to pay your student loans at all. Then there was no interest on the student loans, and we've never had that ever before. But that's no excuse to not pay them. And then when you were supposed to be paying them, to then ignore it even more, I don't know how to help you. It's on you. You know what I'm saying? You got to take some accountability here with the loans that you took out. You've had ample time now to pay them off with 0% interest. Lots of people did it. I didn't realize how much of my stress and anxiety in my life was due to these massive debts until I finally paid off my student loans. I feel free and I feel lighter. I feel like I did 11 years ago when I was 18, the day before I signed that promissory note for my freshman year loans. By the way, school is worth it if you go into a profession or STEM. I agree. College, there are certain people that can go to college and certain degrees that are worth it, that require it. Teaching, even though that doesn't pay that much. Doctors, stuff like that. They should have an education, but these, telecommunications, communications, business degrees, even the one I went for, is kind of silly. Go take a crash course, or go to a seminar in a hotel lobby. You'll probably learn a lot more info than you would in college. Anywho, or if you can afford to pay it in cash, but you have to be honest if it's a worthy investment for you or not. Yeah, it's, people have been brainwashed that just going to college for whatever it is and having a degree in anything is okay. And maybe back in the day when your parents or grandparents went to school, that was the thing. But times have clearly and obviously changed, and it is not the same anymore. And you have to do a lot of research on if that money is going to be well spent on that degree. I ended up working for many years and finally just had a big payday. It sucked handing off a big chunk that took years earning over to debt, but still being a year away from entering 30s and knowing that every dollar I make now for the rest of my life belongs to me is such a freeing feeling. It certainly is.
May 5th, Trump is going to start going after everyone who has any type of federal student loan. And I honestly want some input on this. How are people feeling? He's going to start garnishing your wages. If you haven't paid in the last 5 years, there's also 5 million people that have an open federal student loan. So to the 5 million of you, what are you guys going to do when he starts coming for your paychecks?
Hopefully pay your loans off.
How are you guys going to survive? Because this economy is already crazy, and now he's going to start taking money out of 5 million people's paychecks. I'll let y'all discuss in the comments.
I don't know why she's so surprised, that they're coming after you for something you signed up for. You took out the debt, now you have to pay it back. That's what the agreement was when you first did it. I don't know why it's such a shocker to people now. It's been 5 years, we've swept it under the rug. If we look the other way, maybe it will go away. No, they're coming back. Apparently, you might as well get on top of it. The crazy thing is I have heard of people that during these several years, they just assumed it was gone. I don't need to make my payment, so I'm just going to, forget about it and pretend it doesn't exist and move on with life. Skated by that one. And she was like, oh, the economy's hard, times are tough. I know people that have ignored those loans and then went out and took, $700, $600 a month car payments on brand new cars instead of paying off their loans. And then when they took the loans off pause, they were stressing out about not being able to afford both and were like, oh my gosh, the economy is so difficult, I can't get ahead. And I'm like, Do you not realize what you're doing? Are you kidding me?
In case you're having a bad day, my student loan payment has increased to $1,137, but I'm going to explain why this is actually a good thing. Do I love that my student loan payment is more than some people's mortgage? No. The reason why this is a good thing is because most of my student loan
whose mortgage is $1,000 in this economy. I wish.
Is under my mother's name for a Parent Plus loan. But my mom works as a nurse for a qualified employer of the Public Servant Loan Forgiveness Program. In order for the loan to continue to qualify for Public Servant Loan Forgiveness, they required us last summer to consolidate the loan and to go under a new income-driven repayment plan. We submitted for this last July, and it just now, almost 1 year later, has gone through. I knew with this happening, it was going to
$200,000 in student loans with a 7.6 interest rate. In what? Oh my gosh.
Increase my student loan payment. So my student loan payment used to be $915, which is still insane. And now it's going to be $1,137, which is more insane. I'm sure people are going to ask, people ask all the time, it's literally for a pastry arts degree. I'm literally paying $1,100 a month for a culinary school degree.
What? I'm at a loss for words. This is what I'm talking about. It's like, what did you expect, brother? I don't understand. You spent $200,000 to go to a pastry school for culinary arts? Guys, you got it. You're doing this to yourself. Ugh.
But tell me culinary school is not a scam. Okay. Our payment count is currently at 100 payments, and you need 120 payments to qualify for the Public Servant Loan Forgiveness. So we are less than 2 years away of making payments to get the student loan forgiveness. I will gladly pay $1,100 a month for the next 1.5 to 2 years if it means that it's going to get us to cross the finish line for the student loans to get forgiven. Just trying to find a positive in a mess that's very negative. If you have any questions about the Public Servant Loan Forgiveness Program, put it in the comment section, and maybe other people who've gone through PSLF can help, or I could try to answer any questions to the best of my ability that you have.
It's like, where did the other people get the idea to just not make any payments on their loans at all and expect it to go away? Because he has a bright head on his shoulders. He's the only one that I have heard that actually said, no, I have to make payments, 120 payments, which comes out to 10 years of payments, and then I can get the rest of my loans forgiven. That's what I've heard for the countless hours I've spent trying to research student loans. That's the way you were supposed to do it. So you would have had to have been making your payments towards your loans, and then they could have gotten forgiven. Not don't make any payments towards your loans. I have a feeling some of these people not making payments are probably not making payments on federal loans, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're not making them on private loans either, because they're that clueless. Yeah, that's something to consider. Not necessarily a debt I won't pay off, but rather a debt that I'm not willing to pay off early. The principal and the interest on my student loans are lower than what I have for my savings account. Mathematically, I make more money by putting extra into my savings account than the amount of money I lose in interest on my student loans. I'm also currently a grad student, and my loans are subsidized, so it doesn't make sense to pay them all off right now. See, I don't agree with this math here. I know some people think this, but I'm curious to what interest rate he has on his student loans, because if he's saying he's making more in interest in a savings account, I would beg to differ. Savings accounts are like 4%, maybe 3.6% now. And if you have an interest rate on your student loans of like 2.5%, let's say, your savings account is pre-tax. You get taxed on all the interest you make in your high yield savings account. So the 3.5% you're making, or 4%, is more like 3 or 2.5. So you're really not making that much interest or money by putting money away in your savings account. And there's more of an emotional thing here with paying off student loans and being free and out of debt. It's a really good feeling.
Today is one of those days. I am...
Yeah, this is my point.
A lot in
what
debt.
It feels like to be $76,000 in debt as a 26-year-old scared for her future. Yeah.
And I don't make enough money for me to be in this much debt.
And this is my point, that it doesn't always have to be about the math and the mathematics of, are you going to make $1,000 more after several years putting money into your high yield savings and paying off your debt? There's a lot, as you can see, there's a big emotional toll that being in debt has over people. And sometimes that's worth more than the measly leverage game of interest that you're playing by not paying them off. I can't blame a guy who just hammered out $350,000 in student loans and then said, F it, I'm buying a $130 tube of toothpaste. When I paid off my 2023 Nissan Frontier, I went to Sam's Club and got a couple tubs of Twizzlers just for the hell of it. Heck yeah. Listen, if you guys are paying off your debt and you close out a loan or pay off your car, go celebrate. Don't go crazy. Don't go buy another car, but go out to dinner. Go pat yourself on the back. Treat yourself. Reward yourself for doing something that not many people can do in this world. So, give yourself a round of applause if you can pay off some of this debt and get ahead of what most people can't.
Just found out that my estimated student loan debt payoff is in the year 2049. 2049. 2049.
Yeah.
Do I have my fiance start planning my funeral today or tomorrow?
Again, this just tells you how much of an emotional toll debt can have on a person and why it shouldn't just all be about the numbers. Interest on student loans is tax deductible. I got the form to do mine every year. Only exception was the last few years because interest is zero. Okay, makes sense. I know it's cool that you can write off interest, but it's money you didn't have to spend in the first place had you not been in debt. And that's kind of my point. See, to me, it's like you're just grasping at straws to convince yourself that it's okay to be borrowing again. Oh, wow, you can write off some of the interest. The average person shouldn't be doing that. You know what I'm saying? It does more harm than good, even if you get to write off some of it.
$560,000. That is how much it costs to attend private dental school in this economy.
No, that's insane.
I just had a presentation on financial aid for the dental school I'm going to be attending next year. And they just casually threw out the number $560,000.
Maybe it's time.
That is the cost of.
It's time to change careers. Start looking elsewhere. That's insane.
For your attendance at this private dental school. Mind you, if you take out federal loans to pay off that amount of money, those federal loans have around a 8 to 9% interest rate that accumulates every year, starting as soon as you take the loans out. So we're gonna need to get creative here on how to pay this off. If anyone has any tips, please let me know.
And it's crazy because I know people that have graduated with doctorates and absolutely hate the field that they're in, and they have to stay in it because they have crippling debt in student loans, hundreds of thousands of student loans hanging over their head. That's been accruing interest that they have to pay off. One, I was dating a guy whose sister needed a new car, got a Toyota at a 13% interest rate. Don't remember what she did for a living. I tried to get her not to do that. I had a coworker that got a Mercedes SUV making $45,000 a year. LOL, no money down. I guess the warranty sold her? That's insane. It lived in the dealership mechanic shop too for the first 2 years. Not sure how it's doing now. I have a cousin that took out $100K in student loans to be a teacher. That's insane. She really doubled down and paid them off in 8 years. Good for her. She refused to be one of those that took out a loan and expected it to be taken care of for her. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. A lot of these people out here just expect it to be taken care of for them and not take any sort of accountability for themselves. So guys, that is it for today's episode. If you like this type of content, definitely let me know your thoughts on it down in the comment section below. And if you haven't already, definitely make sure to smash the like button, turn on post notifications, subscribe. And if you haven't already seen my other student loan insanity episode, I highly recommend you check it out right after this. Peace.